Our regularly scheduled program will not be seen today so that we can bring you this special presentation.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Nation Network. Vince McSham with you, and this is the promised recap to Saturday night's main event. The last time is now. Wow. I was trying to think of what the heck movie it was. There was a movie I'd seen a while back, and I'm sure I've talked about it here before, but for the life of me, I can't think of what it was. where I really just didn't like the movie. And then I watched it a year later, and I'm like, why didn't I like the movie? It's actually pretty damn good. But I can't figure out which one it was. Anyway, it really doesn't matter, because I'm thinking if I waited a year and watched this back, I might like it. But I don't. There wasn't much about tonight that I was able to get behind, you know? My prediction was way off. Jesse Ventura was there, albeit very short, brief. But I didn't think we'd be seeing Jesse again because he wasn't at the last one. So Jesse was there. Speaking of people who were there, Andrew Roberts, he's here. Welcome aboard. We're just going to move through some of the matches, and I'll give you my thoughts. Feel free to drop yours in the comments, and we can chat it up a little bit here. Cody Rhodes against Obafemi to kick things off. It sounds good on paper. You got two champions. You got a young and up-and-coming kid. You got Cody in his prime. Titles aren't on the line. It's about bragging rights, but you know neither one can really go over, and if anyone's going over, it's got to be Cody. I wasn't thoroughly impressed with the match itself. It was okay, but I did feel like Oba wasn't ready yet. I think his timing was off on a couple of things. One of the things I noticed throughout several matches tonight is, and I blame the WWE in general for this, with these shows now that show you the writer's room and all that kind of stuff. So what's the point in us not just talking to each other in the middle of the match and calling the next spot out loud where everybody can hear it? They know it's fake. They saw the show. Because nobody's even trying to hide these conversations. It's like every match, I'm hearing the conversation. It's like, can you at least try to make it look like wrestling in the old days where we didn't know what was coming next? Nowadays, I can almost tell you what's happening next because I can hear what's happening next. These open conversations have got to stop. Also, some camera scenario, and this goes to the directors, though. The guy calling the cameras in the truck, they're leaving cameras on the wrong people at the wrong time. Going back to even the last big event, whichever the heck it was, I don't even remember now, where they were in the War Games. And Charlotte had Becky's face pressed up against the cage on the ground, which we could see. The guy gets us a nice close-up so you can see that there is absolutely nothing happening to Becky, and she's screaming like another camera angle would probably have sold that a lot better, but they stayed on it no less. And I felt like that was also happening tonight quite a bit. Specifically in the Bayley Saul Ruka match, there was the moment where Saul was going to the top rope right before she did that little cartwheel on the top rope, which was kind of cute. And, it's different. And she went from the cartwheel into a DDT. The same way we complain about that person that goes to the top of the cage and is going to jump off with a garbage can and 20 people stand there for 5 minutes waiting to catch her. Bayley was in that moment where it was a little too long, and she's there, and you see her looking right over her right shoulder like, is it coming yet? What are you up to? How far are you? How close are you? And the camera's right on her face. It's like, for Christ's sake, switch the camera angle. So this is stuff that was ruining it for me because it's just taking me out of it. You guys are not trying to make it feel that it's not scripted. We know it is. Make us forget that. The same way I can forget a movie is scripted when the actors are doing a great job. Anyway, didn't like the Cody match. Thought Drew getting involved, I guess that's as somebody would say, lazy booking. That's the easy way to get out of it with nobody losing. Oba's attack on Drew, I don't know. I just felt that whole thing was flat. Let me know what you guys think. Moving on to Bayley and Saul Ruka. Saul Ruka is a talent, no doubt about it. I don't know that she's ready yet to move up. I know they're trying to push her up there. Maybe they will. And when I say that, Bayley was trying to get her up for like a fireman's carry position. And yes, you have to help a little bit with that. But Saul Ruka's legs are taller than Bayley's body. So you really don't have to hop. She's already got you. She didn't just hop up. I mean, she kind of like jumped up, came down on her back, and damn near squashed her. That shouldn't be happening. That shouldn't be. You just want to give a little bit of lift, especially, again, with that height and all that. But then a few moments later, she comes back with one of the coolest moves I've seen. I'd recommend not doing it a lot because sooner or later that's going to catch up with you. But that back handspring into a moonsault over the top rope out to the floor. There's a lot that can go wrong with one misstep on that, but it didn't. She kind of overshot Bayley a little bit, but that's all right because that move looked great, and that's her first time on the main roster show, so kudos to her for pulling that one off. She gets the win over Bayley. I can see that. Didn't like that, but I can see that. I was kind of hoping Bayley might snap a little bit, but that didn't happen either. And I kind of figured they weren't going to have anyone run an angle that's going to parlay into another match or anything like that tonight because the spotlight's all on one person. And that person is The Miz. I've been saying for a while now, it's like I know he's at the end of his run and won't be too much longer that we see him in ring. But I really thought we'd see more of him during the Cena stuff. And then he comes out and basically says all that stuff that I've been thinking. It's like it was a pretty big chapter and all, and I liked his involvement, getting out in the ring and doing his shtick there and being in the gear. And then I thought when Truth came down, I thought he was going to be Ron Cena and play it off like, oh, I thought you wanted me, brother. I thought you called me. I heard you say Ron Cena. And I thought they were going to have a quick shoot match or something like that, just for fun. And he made the line about Nick Aldis's balls, which that was kind of funny. And then I saw him pull out the paper. Oh, boy. And of course, we're reading it backwards because it's being shot from the camera and we're looking through the back of the paper. But as soon as I could turn my brain around and forward that up a little, Joe, who? Oh, hell no. I need y'all to tell me something, man. Is anyone not already sick of the Joe Henry shtick? That stupid face he makes. Oh. I mean, I hear the crowd. They're popping, man. They're singing his song. And when he first, came out on TNA a couple years ago, I thought it was kind of funny in the beginning, too. But it wore off. Hold on while I put something up here for you guys. We got a poll in the chat. Please take advantage and share your opinions. Are you a fan of Joe Henry, or are you like me and you're just sick of that shit? Because honest to God, I just don't. He was made for the WWF in the 90s, early 90s. He would have fit in like a charm. And he can wrestle, don't get me wrong. The guy's in-ring work is definitely there. But that stupid fucking face he makes. Ugh. I can't watch him. I just can't, man. It's so stupid at this point. But again, the pop is there. One of the things I will say, and I was thinking about this earlier today, at least Peacock is getting a send-off. When the WWE left USA Network to go to Netflix a year or so ago, their last episode of Raw was doing nothing but promoting next week when we go to Netflix. The card was lackluster at best. Nothing of any meaning really happened. All they did was build up the next network. Peacock, I can only imagine. I don't know if they have an accurate way of tracking ratings, but this thing's got to be huge for them, which is going to suck in 2 weeks when they lose everything. But at least they had this moment. they fed them. Again, what they did to the USA Network, that was criminal. All right. I got a lot of notes on the final match of John Cena. I'll give an overall recap, and then we can break it down by how the match progressed. My overall recap was that it was, and I was thinking this halfway through, thinking, okay, but maybe it'll change. Maybe it'll change. Maybe it'll change. It didn't change. This was Brock Lesnar 2.0. It was a squash match. Yeah, he had a little more offense than he did against Brock, but nothing that mattered. Nothing that really... I mean, when you're hitting a guy off the top rope with your finisher, and he's kicking out on two, and then 2 seconds later he's slapping on a sleeper hold, it just is what it is at this point. It was better than Ric Flair's last match, I'll say that right now. Some people set a pretty low bar, though. All right, let's go through it. We're on Peacock, right? This is not network TV. There's no policies or rules or anything we have to behave by. We got an open clock. We're going to go off the air whenever it's all said and done. And they're over here beeping out the fans chanting, "Fuck you, Gunther." I get it on network TV, but on freaking pay network, can you just let it play? But whatever. Early on in the match, first thing I noticed, the hair replacement surgery didn't work very well because it's back. Nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying. And he had made a comment, Cena, that it was a lot less noticeable when he kept it short and tight. And I'm thinking to myself, well, then keep it short and tight. If you look at his, especially early in the match, and the funny thing is, where was he talking? It was one of the pre-night interviews, and he was talking about Stu and the cameraman, and somebody, I think it was probably on the podcast from yesterday. Yeah, I think it was Pat McAfee's. Anyway, Pat said something about would it be funny if Stu threw a punch at you, and what if he turned around and hit you? He said, well, if you actually hit me, I'd have to talk about all these years you haven't learned how to throw a working punch. So that kind of resonated with me because I'm watching his punches early in this match, and they are not good. And this is after he's been chopped to shit already. I mean, he's already got welts on his chest, and I'm like, fucking hit him. I'm not saying throw a knockout punch, but potato him a little bit. He's hitting you. It's your last match. It's the largest audience they've had, for eyeballs in a long time. Let it land. You know the places to hit. God knows, freaking Gunther with that head give you a target a mile wide. I just thought the punches were really pulled back. I mean, Hollywood pulled back. And again, the camera angles. It's a combination of both. Now, we're going to get to some stuff here in a minute where the camera can't really do you a whole lot of good. We go real early on to the STFU. Why? I mean, we're talking about the first 4 minutes of the match, 5 minutes of the match. Nobody is going to believe for a moment that the match is over because of the STFU. You wait till 10, 12, 15 minutes, it's a maybe. First 4 minutes, it's a waste of time. This is about the time I was starting to call it Brock 2.0 in my head. He goes for the double A, gets a 2 count. Turns right around, does Gunther, puts him in a sleeper hold. And this is going to be the theme of the match. After too long in the sleeper hold, and let's talk about the thing the camera can't help you with, Gunther. And I've called him out on this many times before. Not just him, but he's the primary recipient of this. I know you're going to leave a window when you put the chokehold on so the guy doesn't really choke. but you're leaving a bay window. I mean, everything is so friggin' loose. There's nothing believable about the sleeper hold. I have air all around Cena that I can see through, and it's just so obvious that you're not applying. You can still tense up and get the muscles to twitch and stuff like that and make it look like you're doing it without doing it, and you're not doing that. This is the same logic I'm talking about when these guys, girls, are talking to each other openly now. I feel like they're just kind of in the mindset of we don't need to hide anymore. They know. Yeah, we know, but we want to forget that we know. I know that Tom Cruise is not really a fighter pilot. But for 2 hours, I could forget about that. It helps that he's an actual pilot, but that's a whole other animal. When these guys and girls aren't cinching the holds up to make them look good, it's just ruining the match. There's no immersiveness when that happens. It's right away. It's just like they're playing. It's like you would play with a kid in the living room kind of thing. Play wrestling that way. Of course, you're not going to do anything with your kid. You're just going to, put a little fake headlock on there. And that's the way it felt to me. Anyway, we go back and forth doing the sleeper, AA, sleeper, AA. Gunther sets up the steel tables outside by the table. And I could tell at that moment what was about to happen. I knew Cena was going to use that as an opportunity to AA him through the table, which he did. Congratulations, the table didn't hurt anyone this time. But that's the problem. It didn't hurt anyone this time because he roll him back in the ring. He kicks right out, turns around, puts on another sleeper hold. What was the point? It basically just went back and forth with AA, sleeper hold, AA, sleeper hold. And here was the moment where, for me, this is why I'm just not going to like this match at all in my mindset. And I wish they would have given him LA Knight. It would have been a great wrestling match. It would have been a couple of guys that would have put on a show. And I just don't feel that about Gunther in general. I think he's just a chop man. The same way I don't like spot monkeys. Oh, we skipped over the tag match. We'll go back to it. Sorry. The same way I'm not a fan of spot monkeys, I'm not a fan of this guy who's just a one-trick pony. And he can wrestle. I know he can. But all this chopping people and doing physical damage to their bodies. And then you want to put on the loosest friggin' sleeper hold in the world 2 minutes later. Look, either you want this shit to feel real or you don't. Make up your damn mind. But if you're going to fake something and not fake something else, try it the other way around. Try cinching up a little bit better on the sleeper hold and selling that. And maybe you go about 10% on these chops that you're putting people's chests through their spine on. That's just me. I think that'd go a long way. So there's a moment, though, where I thought, okay, we might be able to salvage this match. And the referee's checking the arm. It goes down once. It goes down twice. And then as he's getting ready to drop it, we're used to Hogan doing the thing with the one finger back and forth, right? In this case, Cena, of course, does the three fingers. And I said, that's cool. I don't know if he meant that to be paying homage to Hogan or not, because we've seen him doing a lot of that over the last several matches. But I thought that was pretty cool. And I was waiting for him to hulk up, and kind of come out of it and put on some offense. And then at the last minute, Gunther can catch him and, powerbomb him for the 3 count. No. Right back to the damn sleeper hold again. Makes him tap out. Anticlimactic as fuck. It just sucked. It really, that's the way he goes out. Not the losing thing. We knew he was losing. Come on. The only ones that thought he was winning is 2K, and that was in our prediction earlier today, which I knew that wasn't happening. But I really expected it to be a lot more of Cena's about to win. Cena's about to win, and then he drops his head for a back body drop. Here's the power bomb, and with his last bit of effort, Gunther just leans on him enough to get the 3 count. But they didn't do that. They went a different direction. I feel a horrible direction. Everyone's entitled to an opinion, right? That's mine. Tag team match, AJ Styles and Dragon Lee against Javon Evans. And I was going to say Cedric, not Cedric. What's his name? Bring my notes back up. I'm drawing a blank right now because I'm just, Leon Slater, I knew that. It was just a spot monkey fest. That's all it was. I swear to God, when I see that kind of crap, it makes me just think of, and if you've never seen it, just trust me on this, it makes me think of Cirque du Soleil, where they have all these acrobats hopping around on trampolines and twirling in the air and going through hula hoops and whatever else they're doing, bouncing off of walls. That's all I see in my mind. It's Cirque du Soleil. Can you fucking wrestle? Granted, they looked good. Their timing was right on. Right off the bat, early in the match, going over the top of the steel post, which that's a dangerous move to make right there out to the floor. And then there's a moment late in the match where AJ's going for the phenomenal forearm and slips off the top rope, lands awkwardly. I wasn't sure, and I'm still not positive, but I wasn't sure that that was a legit botch or if that was supposed to be the setup to go home. But the fact that they didn't show the replay makes me think that was legit. And you got to remember, the WWE uses ropes, actual ropes. So those things, they play different. Overall, for the whole event, if we want to go that route, on a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it a 5. There's just nothing, there was no match that stood out to me as, yeah, that's a great match. Or that was a meaningful match. You know, Saturday Night Main Event, and that's the other thing, too, it did not feel like Saturday Night's Main Event. It just didn't. It was the Cena Farewell Show, which is fine. Give it a different name and run it. Still put it on Peacock, honor your obligations. Just give it a different name. Because there was nothing about it that felt like Saturday Night's Main Event. Nothing. The real deal. What's happening, man? I think Cena wanted to do was push down. I get it. I get it. And he would have still done that. I'm just saying how it was done. The back and forth with the sleeper hold and the AAs and it was just back and forth, back and forth. Every time he gets out of the sleeper, puts it right back on him, and it's a bad sleeper. That's the other thing. You're not convincing anyone with this loose spaghetti arm sleeper hold. Danelle, the fans were angry, justifiably angry. And for those of them that paid those exorbitant ticket prices that some of the secondhand scalpers were selling, you got to be really pissed if you paid that kind of money. And I'll tell you why. The thing that shocked the hell out of me wasn't during the match. It was after. Cena never took the microphone, did not address the crowd. I'm like, what? I could not believe he did not say anything to the crowd. By the way, Heat of the Night goes to Triple H. Wow. Talk about the bloom being off the rose. Holy shit. The fans were mad because he tapped out. Anyone that went there thinking they were going to see John Cena beat Gunther is an idiot. He wasn't going to beat him under any set of circumstances other than Gunther blowing out his quad, okay? I mean, he'd have to have a major injury during the match where they had to go home. That's the only way John Cena was winning that match. But he didn't have to tap out. You could have had him pass out. Or you could have done the right thing, have him come back, mount one more big run, hit him with a bunch of stuff. He made that whole thing to the crowd about, hey, this is the last one. I need to hear you guys. He was getting ready to do the 5-knuckle shuffle and then doesn't do it because he gets caught. So the fans got screwed out of that little moment. It was just, I think that's what I'm feeling about this whole show. It wasn't fan-friendly. From the production to the execution, it wasn't fan-friendly. That's my take on it. And there's Originoli saying he thought the matches were really good tonight. See, this is what it is. It's a form of art. I can hold up a painting that sold for $100,000, and I can look at it and say, I wouldn't give you $10 for that thing, but somebody paid $100,000 for it. It's all about the individual and what they see and what they think they see maybe sometimes. So if you thought the matches were good, I'm glad you enjoyed the show. And we all knew who was going to win, buddy. Believe me, if you really thought Cena was going to win, it would have been the right thing to do for so many reasons. So many reasons. Number one, so that we don't always feel like we know what's going to happen all the damn time, but you make it so obvious. Scott W., that's a very interesting point. Scott's not interested in the match because there was no story to invest in. Not really. No, there wasn't. I mean, they had the tournament to earn the right. So, And Cena's going out either way, so you can't even make it like a career match or something like that. He's already going. Could have made it a haircut match. He needs that. Now, when he held up the 3 fingers in the sleeper hold, I'd have had him come back. I would have had him whoop on Gunther. I'd have had him go on a 5-minute run of offense, light his chest up, whip him to the ropes, go for the back body drop. Gunther just in one motion jerks him up for the power bomb, plants him, gets the 1, 2, 3, and that's it. It's over. I think the fans would have tolerated that. I have a funny feeling a year from now when Cena's talking about his last match, I wouldn't be surprised if he turns around and says, I shouldn't have tapped. 23 years of don't give up, and I feel like I let a lot of my people down. Because in the end, I gave up. Jey Uso's got some issues, man. I mean, he's been picked up for DUI already here in Florida. Not wishing anything on him, but don't be surprised if there's a mugshot in the morning. I did not watch their post show. I saw it was getting ready, and I was like, maybe I'll watch it tomorrow. I was just not impressed with the card at all. Not the lineup so much as the results of it. So, is nobody going to partake in the poll? My goodness, you guys are killing me. Well, it'll just be me saying no to Joe Hendry then. I'll leave it up for another couple minutes there, guys. Just jump in there. Let me know what you think of Joe Hendry. Are you a fan or no? I'm trying to figure out if I'm doing this on my own. Originally right now, he's thinking this was a decent show. I don't think it was a good show. It's kind of... I just don't know how you... Man, it all comes down to LA Knight. It really does. It would have been a much, much better... Because then the fans are going home happy. Because they're going to cheer for Cena. And then you let LA Knight get that big win. Cena and LA share a moment. LA gives him the spotlight. The fans are happy that LA finally got a big win. And it would have been a great match. With a couple of guys who are similar size and build and style and all that kind of crap. That would have been a great match. That would have been like Bret Hart and Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania. It would have been something in that type of vein, I believe. Not karaoke night at the Coconut Lounge. That was a good one. That was a good one. The poll won't let you check anything. What's up with that? Anybody else having that problem? That's weird. All right, well, I'll just shut it down then if it ain't working. Leave it to YouTube. But yeah, the Joe Hendry thing, oh my God. I was going to say it works for TNA because they're a little bit more goofy-ish in their styling, but even there it doesn't work. It did 2 years ago, 3 years ago. It's done, man. It's run its course. Just, we'll see. I mean, he's no Ron the Truth Killings. I'll tell you that right now. He's no R-Truth. I was a little disappointed with R-Truth. Didn't get more to do. I mean, he kind of, a little bit there with the Miz for a moment, but and then before the show went on, if you were watching them on, I don't know if it was on YouTube, he did his entrance song, but changed all of the lyrics around to honor Cena. Joe Hendry's corny. That's being polite. I find it more obnoxious, gaudy, stupid. When I see him doing that, I remember, and most of you guys, well, you're old enough to remember, a lot of you are anyway, but I don't know if anybody will remember because the show only lasted 2 weeks and they pulled the plug on it. Chevy Chase took over a late-night TV program. I think he took over for Arsenio Hall, if I'm not mistaken, but whatever crappy late-night show it was. It wasn't one of the big ones. It wasn't like Letterman's slot or Jay Leno's slot, but it was one of those other ones. And Chevy Chase took it over for literally 2 weeks. And for a guy who's a professional talent and comedian, I couldn't believe how bad this show bombed because he was a nervous wreck, visibly shaking. And he had the softball lineup, man. He's interviewing Goldie Hawn, his buddy, the lady he'd starred in multiple movies with. And she was really trying to carry him through the interview. And it's like I've always said about Chevy, he's not funny. He's not a great comedian. All he does is mug it up for the camera. And that's Joe Hendry to me. Now, he can wrestle. But every time he mugs for the camera, I see Chevy Chase. And now you will too. You're welcome. I got nothing for tonight. I don't know what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting much, really. I was hoping for a little better fanfare. I mentioned earlier that I likened this to when Wayne Gretzky retired, played his last game in the Madison Square Garden. And I am trying to remember, I think they did win that game. I'm not sure. I think it was like a 2-1 game or something like that, but I don't remember if they had the 2 or the 1 at this point. But either way, it didn't really matter because they weren't going to the playoffs and they knew it. And that was just his last game. And it was really sad. Because you knew the chapter was closing on one of the greatest of all times at what he does. And that's kind of what I was looking at with this as well. But it made it more, it wasn't just sad. Now it was disappointing because of how you did him. And again, I know he's involved in this and that they worked it out together. And John's going to do whatever whatever's best for business. It wasn't good. It wasn't. Scott W., you must be an old fuck like me then, if you actually remember seeing the Chevy Chase show. By the way, you can probably find that episode on YouTube. I would honestly make an effort to find it. Chevy Chase show, Goldie Hawn. You'll see quickly, boy ain't lying. I mean, you could see the sweat, and this is long before high-def TV. There was no 4K back then. You still had a little box of a screen to look at, and you could see the sweat pouring off of him. I was like, dude, you've done this before, haven't you? I guess it was probably because he realized everyone was going to see that he's not that good. He'd been hiding it so well throughout his Saturday Night Live career. Oh, Originoli. Originally says you can't see him. Trust me, Monsoon. Tonight, everyone saw exactly who he is now. I don't blame him for this match. There's a reason Triple H got booed out of the building. And it's sad that it's come down to that because, man, when Vince was gone and he finally took over and we had bloodline stuff going on, he was the Messiah. He was walking on water. But how do you go from that to where we are today with the booking that you have going on today? And the complete lack of ability to listen to what the fans want. And tonight was kind of a microcosm of the whole thing, and it all just came together. Cody and Oba on paper, it could be good. It wasn't. Bailey and Saul. It was okay. Too many botches. Saul had a couple. There's the one I mentioned. There was another one that I can't recall now. I remember there was another one that was like, that shouldn't happen. And maybe it was just that long delay in her coming off of that cartwheel on the top rope thing and the fact that it made Bailey look bad. So that could be possible too. Judd, welcome aboard, buddy. We are just going over what happened. Oh, it turns out once I closed the poll, all of a sudden the votes were there. That's weird because it wasn't showing up. So the poll says 60% are not fans of Joe Henry, so I'm at least in the majority because I would have voted as well, and that would have made it 70-30. And I do believe that those numbers are going to be accurate across. But again, you look at the stands, and they're all cheering like a bunch of hyenas and stuff, but maybe you just needed something to cheer about at that point in the show. For those that like the Spot Monkey stuff, you had the tag team match. It was good Spot Monkey. Yeah, he did all the flips, all the tricks. Most of them landed accurately. Nobody got hurt. Well, AJ came close, but didn't get hurt. Even that finisher there at the end that landed on, I forget which one of the guy, I think it was Javon that did the 360 or 480, whatever the hell it was in the air, and lands on AJ. His knees clipped AJ like right in the rib cage, is the way it looked to me. So hopefully he's okay from that. That was a pretty stiff one right there. And I remember when Cena was in the match itself, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, at the end of the match, he's got to leave the boots in the ring. I said, boy, he's got the easiest job in the world, man. Slippers come right off. And then he did leave them in the ring, and I was right. Just pop, pop. There they go. And he took off the wristbands as well, and I was like, uh-oh, wait a minute. Tell me you're not dropping the shorts. Oh, man. I would have liked to see him go out better than that. But I guess that's really what it comes down to. Originally, I agree. 100%. And not only does AJ deserve better, so does Cena. He deserved better than this one. I mean, granted, they put all the time in, and everybody was there, and all the recorded messages that they compiled together, and all the different video packages they put together. They treated him right. I still can't figure out for the life of me why he didn't pick up a damn microphone at the end. I am shocked that he said nothing when it was over. And again, if you're one of those people that paid that kind of money, I would think I'd be pissed. I was disappointed just sitting here in my room watching it. Shit. It's not going to go down as one of the all-time greats. People are going to try and tell you it was. It's the Emperor's Clothes all over again. And what a phenomenal night it was. What a way to go out and blah, 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 blah. No, it wasn't. There wasn't a whole lot about it that was great or good or even decent. It was just... It was a C-. That's the way I look at the entire night, wrapped up in one ball, giving it one grade C-. Nobody stood out for the right reasons tonight. Were there moments? Yeah. But did anyone have that kind of match that you can look at and say, damn, that person had a great match? Let me know, because I didn't see one. And the disappointing thing for Sol Ruca is, again, I don't think she's ready yet. Look, I'm not going to pin anything on Bayley because Bayley has some of the greatest matches in the last 10 years that the WWE has put on, and with multiple different opponents. Obviously, we can go all the way back to the first takeover in Barkley with her and Sasha, and that was a fucking phenomenal match. I actually watched that again a couple days ago. And she's had other ones with Becky and Charlotte, and they've all been phenomenal matches. Could she have an off night? Of course she can have an off night. Did she have an off night? No, she didn't have an off night. Sol wasn't quite ready yet. There's also something to be said for the fact that body styles. Sol is so tall compared to Bayley. Now, Bayley's not Zelina short, but like I said, Sol Ruca, I don't know how tall she is. Anybody know? I'm guessing 6 foot, 6'2". I mean, she's a tall friggin' girl. And for her to kind of hop up like that on Bayley's back while she's bent over, ooh. Good night, Judd. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here, buddy. What would I have changed? Well, I already told you what I would have changed. I would have changed that whole ending of the Cena match. When he held up the 3 fingers, I would have had him get out of the sleeper, go on a 5-minute run of all of his greatest hits, and one more tribute where he can maybe hit, I don't know, whichever celeb, maybe he hadn't hit an RKO yet, so he could hit an RKO. I'd have had him do a good 5-minute run, send him off the ropes, send Gunther to the ropes, go for a back body drop, get caught with a power bomb, 1, 2, 3. And I would also have, like Gunther, that would have been his last gasp. He would have leaned into him, half dead, got the 3 count, rolled off, rolled out to the floor, never to be seen again tonight. So he'd have got the win, but he wouldn't have stood over him or anything like that. So that's what I would have done differently. Danelle, he did do that, okay? But you don't need to do that. You can take the pinfall and you're passing the torch. And the fans would have been okay with it. They wouldn't have liked it, but they'd have been okay with it. If they would have done it my way, you wouldn't have had that dead reaction. That crowd was just dead silent. The air got sucked out of the room. When he started tapping, you could hear a pin drop. Whereas if you'd have done it my way, there would have been a 1, 2, shit. Yeah, originally, those sleeper holds were so bad tonight. And not just Gunther. I mean, all of his were shit. And again, I'm not expecting him to actually put people out, okay? I'm just saying, can you snug your arm up around their chin and the carotid artery without squeezing it, but still look like you're squeezing it, and you can still flex your forearms and get some muscles popping a little bit, and instead of having them being able to like turn around and look at you and go, hey, what's the next move going to be? Just, I don't know. I miss the old days. I really do. Yeah, Scott, Cena has been doing the job, and that's a big part of this retirement tour, and he said it up front, is that he wanted it to be about the next generation. It wasn't about him. It was him saying goodbye, but it was for the next generation, to get the rub. And that's the way it should be. I mean, you got guys like Hogan, who I love to death, but other than the Warrior, and that turned out not to be such a great idea after all, huh? Who did Hogan really give a rub to? I mean, yeah, he lost on Nitro to Luger clean, lost the title that way. Lost to the Giant, I think. I'm trying to remember if he lost to the Giant clean. Flair lost the title to the Giant. I don't know if Hogan ever lost the title to the Giant. There were so many title changes in WCW. Who can remember them? Exactly, originality. The old days, and again, people want to, oh, you're just old, yeah, blah, 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 blah. No, I just know what the idea is for you to make us forget that it's scripted. And you're doing it worse and worse every week. Scott, man, I couldn't agree with you more. It never should have happened, first off. They never should have pitched it. They never should have allowed it. He never should have turned heel. You wasted 3 months of that tour that could have been much better, much more enjoyable, more entertaining, better for the fans. Yeah, I know the fans wanted him to turn heel 5 years ago. And why it makes less sense to do it in his last 12-month run, because we know you're not going to leave him a heel as he leaves. So how long can he be a heel for? 60 days? By the way, the answer is yeah. I think that's about how long it lasted, and it was horrible. Horrible. Hogan lost to The Rock. Good point. So he put 2 people over in his career. All right, that's fair. Well, I don't know if The Rock ruined the whole thing or if The Rock angle ruined the whole thing. Because I don't know who set that up. I mean, it is possible that Dwayne was in charge of coming up with all that. From the moment that he turned, says, I have your soul and all this other crap, to, oh, my job here is done now. I don't have to. That was it. I've already, my whole thing is done. It was so bad. So bad. And everyone admits it. I mean, WWE, they've all admitted it at this point in time. I've heard Triple H say, yeah, that wasn't great. Cena's not happy with the way it went. But he'll always take the high road. Yeah, but if that hadn't happened, then this wouldn't have happened. So, yeah, and by the way, Dwayne wasn't there tonight. What the fuck? What the actual fuck? I didn't see Tony Khan. I didn't see Dwayne. I was really impressed, however, with that one corner ringside where you had Rob Van Dam and you had, oh my God, damn near everybody was there. Sammy's there with his kid front row, which was cool. I saw, what's his name? Meng. Not Meng. Well, yeah, Meng, but Haku. I was like, holy shit, Haku came out for this thing. That's class. It really was the who's who right there. You had Trish and, oh, goodness gracious, a lot of them there. Mark Henry, I was shocked. Didn't think I was going to see no Mark Henry. Kurt Angle. Yeah, I never saw Orton, but I got a feeling he would have been in the locker room, I think. I can't imagine he wouldn't have been there at all. The Rock left a video message. Did they ever show it? Because I didn't see it. And not for anything. For this night, should have been there. Should have been there. I heard he's lost a lot of weight. Kevin Owens. Oh, yes, Elias. That was another really cool thing to see Elias there and Kevin Owens there, and when he's not even been on the roster and for how long. And he was tearing up too, so that was cool. Scott, I'm 100% with you on that, man. I learned to appreciate Cena. They showed it where? On Saturday night's main event they showed it? Or in one of the pre... I didn't watch the whole pre-show. I watched about 20 minutes of it. Speaking of pre-shows, on this show that we're doing right now, where was Vince? Where was Trump? There was a lot of speculation. I thought he'd at least have a video package or something, but nothing. I'm sure they decided, listen, we're in D.C. D.C. does not like the man. We'll just leave him home for this one. Yeah, I was starting to say at the beginning of this show that we're doing right now, if you go back and rewind, I've got the year-end recap on my YouTube viewing habits, which I thought was kind of interesting. For any of you who are trying to locate it and you can't locate it, all you have to do really is just put in youtube.com/recap. And as long as you're logged into your YouTube, it'll pull it up. And I think it's only going to be around for maybe a few weeks. The other thing I did is I went to WWEshop.com, and they've got the shirts from tonight that Cena wore. Shipping and handling and everything all set together is about $39, which is a lot of money for a T-shirt, but... And I think they're only on sale for like 24 hours or something like that. So if you're going to get one, you got to get one quick. So I ordered one, figured, all right, I might end up homeless, but at least I'll have a shirt. They also have, and they did the spot on the show, and I mentioned this earlier, they've got these elite action figures for Cena in the exact gear he had tonight. And I'm really impressed with this thing because they got the T-shirt, including the little tchotchkes on the sleeves, the little prints on the sleeves, which normally with those elite things, you just get it on the chest, maybe on the back too, because Cena's has front and back. But they even got that little tiny shit going on the sleeves, which I thought kind of the extra mile right there. And they've got, I think, 3 different head sculpts that you can pop on and off. 6 different hands, 3 each side. But it's like $50. I just cannot justify $50 on a piece of plastic. Not to mention, I'd probably want 2 anyway, because I'd want one that I could open and put them in the little Hall of Fame I got there. But I'm not dropping that kind of money. Target finally got a restock. I don't know if they're already sold out again of the LJNs. But same thing, $25 for an LJN figure. Thought about it. Nah, it's too much. It's just too much. I was going to get the Hogan. That's the other thing, too, because then I was going to get Hogan. Then I was going to get Dusty. I wanted Dusty, and I wanted Cena. Well, that's $75 now, man. With tax, you're almost at $100. For what? A plastic sculpt? Ken Rogers in the house. Welcome, buddy. Yeah, I agree with you, man. It wasn't the way to do it. Yeah, we've been talking about Triple H being the most hated man in America right now. All the more reason Trump should have come and shown up tonight, because tonight he wouldn't have looked as bad. I'd be curious if they were to come out like one after the other to see which one would get the worst reaction. No, I agree, man. It wasn't good. It shouldn't have happened. It should have been a pinfall off a power bomb is what I would have gone with. All right, guys. Well, yeah, I mean, look, they're going to definitely be putting more of these LJNs out because this first run just sold out instantly. I mean, they didn't even unbox half of them. They were gone. Trump was at the Army-Navy game. Okay. Like I said, it's better he wasn't there because that would have just taken the spotlight off. And it wouldn't have gone well anyway. Yeah, you could have had him pass out. The power bomb would have been the way to go. I think the fans would have tolerated that a lot better. And if he'd have done it the way I said to do it, where he just kind of he power bombs him and then almost falls on top of him to pin his shoulders down with the legs crunched up. Because that's the last bit of energy he has. And then he gets the 3 count and kind of like slumps off and rolls out to the ring. Lucky he got the victory. You know, he survived the most grueling match he's ever had. Instead, it was just like I said, Brock Lesnar 2.0. It was a beatdown. It was a squash match. It really was. Cena had some offense, but it wasn't a 50-50, that's for sure. All right, guys. With that said, I think we're going to wrap this one up. Thanks for checking in with me and sharing your thoughts and opinions. I think the majority of us agree Joe has got to go. He will. There's no way that holds up. I think the fans get tired of him and you got to remember, a lot of these fans don't watch Impact Wrestling or TNA Wrestling. So they haven't had 2 years of mugging. I think after about 3 to 4 months of that shtick of his with that goofy look on his pie face, it drives me crazy. Absolutely drives me crazy. I think that's going to wear out pretty quick. All right. Well, thanks for stopping by. Thanks for checking out. And hopefully something better comes up with the next one. But this just wasn't a good night for wrestling. And for John Cena, I know he's going to do really well with whatever he does next because this is a guy who's just driven on being successful, and it shows. Bobby Heenan said it best one time when talking about the $1 million man, Ted DiBiase, during a match one time. He says, you know how you get to be like him? You follow one of these ham and eggers around and watch what they do, and then don't do it. Sometimes it's just that simple. All right, everybody, have a great rest of your night. We'll see you next time with Wrestle Chat. So long.